He is a food consultant and a licensed dietitian. Dietitian Nii. That's what he goes by, guys. Like, he does all these videos. He sends you WhatsApp and doing these like 1-2 minute little talks. He has these snacks. Hey, Nii, how you doing?
You're fine.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So, listen, we're going to get literally straight into it, okay? So, what exactly is food hygiene? Because a lot of people don't even know, like, that's the thing. You have body hygiene, but you can also have food hygiene too. So, what is food hygiene? Yeah,
so when we're talking about food hygiene, it's basically like food safety, trying to keep your food very safe so that you don't have foodborne illness. So, as you said, some people after eating food will have diarrhea, will have some stomach cramps and all that. And it's as a result because the food is contaminated or it's not safe. And if eating it, you begin to experience these symptoms. So talking about food hygiene, you need to keep your food very safe, free from all these contaminants. And this can be chemicals or it can be microorganisms from dirt and all that, yeah.
Okay, so let's begin. Like, give us some things that we should consider before even buying our food or even before eating it. How do we know whether this is good to eat or not? And let's talk about food that's already been cooked, okay?
Yeah.
They've served it to you, it's rice or it's fish or whatever. Yeah. How do I know that this is looking pretty, but how do I know that it's good enough for me to eat and it's not going to cause me a running stomach?
Okay, so we have things like physical appearance, right? So some food become sports or it's in the sports state. The appearance change, the color and all that. Sometimes the smell. So these are some of the things you can know. Sometimes the texture. Some become very slimy and all that, like rice and all that.
And spaghetti and all that stuff.
Become very slimy. Some can have this odor coming out of very sharp and unpleasant odor coming out of it. Something like egg and all that. So that one you can see that it's not usually proteins, like meat, the chicken, the fish and all that. If you get in sport, you can even smell this, have this unpleasant odor. Sometimes the color also change. But if you want to go the safer way, what we advise people is that aside the physical appearance, looking at the smell, the texture and all that, you can also, for canned products, you can look at the expiry date. So we have two things. We have expiry date of best before, you need to use it before that date. So there are two things here. So some products come with these two things. Now, if it's best before, that means before that time, the food is safe, but after that time, it's not safe to consume. Yeah. Yeah, so you need to throw it away.
Best before. You said best before you can still consume, but expiry.
Expiry date is like so. Best before.
That's it. After when you see expiry date, you cannot. It's not safe to eat. But best before.
Before that date, before that date you can take it. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So those are protecting us from canned products and from already food. Yeah. So what are some of the factors that we should consider when we are buying food?
Yeah, so first of all, we'll look at where you're buying it from, the environment. Yeah, that's one of the first things. So you said recently AMA closed down a meat shop in Tema, where like when you go to the place smells very bad. The walls have these green things around the walls and all that.
Hey!
Yeah, and they just close it up. So what I always advise people that you need to, we used to have this saying, buying food by the
gutter is the most sweetest.
So you see that one. That one is very bad. You need to look at the environment first because the environment can also infect the food you're eating. So that's the first thing you need to look at that. Secondly, the hygienic state of the person giving the food, that's the vendor. Sometimes we advise people to wear hairnets because when the hair drops into the food, it can also contaminate, it can also cause trouble.
Whoa.
Yes, so you need to do that. And also,
you see, and some people, they will see a hair in the food and just take it out and continue eating.
Yes, we'll come back to that one. Then secondly, I also advise people that you don't allow the vendor to serve their food with their raw hands. Sometimes you see people taking food for their customers with their bare hands without washing their hands. We have these rubber gloves.
Yes.
You can always use them to pick food for your customers.
Yeah, but then using rubber gloves, if you're using the same glove to pick up meat, pick up fish, pick up stew, they're supposed to be changing it.
Yeah,
so
that's why we
food
have
contamination.
So you have the tongs to pick your spaghetti, you have different tongue to pick the fish and all that. So you need to use different tongues for separate food because some food can also contaminate other food. Yeah, so you need to use different ones for that. And lastly, we'll talk about appearance and all that. You need to also look at, do you have any unpleasant smell coming from the food and all that? Just observe all that, and also the texture. Is it that slimy? Just make sure that you get all this things before you buy the food. Yeah. It's very important.
Yeah, but then what if it's too late? You've already bought it.
Yeah.
And you have now
Yeah.
You've paid for it. Now that you're about to eat it, you can see that it's slimy. Some people don't even know.
Yeah.
Or do you know what's another thing?
No.
Sometimes, you know, you buy food and you leave it in the car. The car gets very hot.
Yeah.
The food has maybe fried rice, for example, and you leave it in the car. You know, you buy in the morning, you do your work shift, or when is your lunchtime, you go to the car to pick up your food. But you don't know that the heat has caused all of these different things. Probably caused the food's gone off, but you continue eating. How are we supposed to know, in terms of this Ghana, best places to store our foods during the day?
Yeah, so what I advise people, if you're not ready to eat after you buy the food, just refrigerate it to keep it safe.
But what if there's no fridge in your workplace?
Then you just have to eat it before.
Imagine that. How?
Yeah, so then you don't have to buy it, because the whole thing needs to, you see, bacteria thrive at certain temperatures. So we have 40 degrees, below 40 degrees, that's the colder side, and above 130, sorry, so below 40 Fahrenheit, and also above 135 Fahrenheit. Above that is the warm side, and below that is the colder side. But between these two regions, that's the time that they are very dangerous. So either keep it warm or you keep it cold. You don't keep it within that temperature.
Yeesh.
That's the thing. And that's why I advise people that if you're buying salad, the normal vegetable salad with cream on it, from a restaurant, and the delivery guy takes about 2 hours, please, it's not safe.
Can't eat
If
it.
it's being stored in a cold container before it's being delivered to you, that's fine. So we need to watch all of it. And sometimes, Ghana, we are used to the cups, right? And sometimes you can buy bread and keep the bread in the refrigerator, and you have this brown, black thing around it sometimes. And some people just cut it off.
Oh.
So that thing is a very bad practice, because you don't know whether that organism has stretched beyond that region. Especially when it comes to akenke and all starchy foods, the banku and all that. Some people just cut that side and warm it up. That is the wrong thing. Just throw everything away.
Oh my gosh.
Just to keep yourself safe.
So, I mean, lastly, is there a way or like a method that we can now, you know, cook our vegetables or our meats and all that stuff, where we are trying to be safe, but we're not removing all of the nutrients that is inside? Because sometimes when you overboil your spinach or your carrots, whatever, the water's changing, and the fact that the water's changing means that the nutrients is all gone.
Yeah.
So is there like another way that we're able to like do that?
So there are two ways that I can suggest here. Just use little water, so that the water forms part of the vegetable. So it can be like a steamed vegetable. At the same time, if you use a lot of water, then you need to use the water as stock. And all that, yes. And sometimes you can also explore other forms of cooking. So sometimes you can just toss the vegetables on fire, and just a little bit, just to warm it up and also kill some of the bacteria and all that. So these are some of the safest ways you can handle your vegetables. But there's one thing I always advise people to do. If you're buying vegetables outside, buying vegetables, you need to look at how it looks. If it has black spots on it, please don't buy it. It has a rotten part of it, please don't buy those ones. I know people buy rotten tomatoes because at least when you use that one to prepare food, it gives you a very larger amount of stew. Yeah, people have that analogy.
Rotten tomatoes give a large amount of stew.
So people have that, so
goodness.
that's the thing. So I always tell people not to do that. If it's rotten, please throw it away. It's not safe. And also when it comes to washing your vegetables, there are two ways you can do. You can use salt water or vinegar.
Salt water or vinegar, that's a good one.
So you can use that one to wash it. So first of all, you wash it with just warm water, you dip it in the vinegar, then you wash it again. Then you can now use it to cook.
Now finally, I'm sure a lot of people want to know, maybe you kind of have answered this question already, but how do we prevent food poisoning? Food poisoning, we're not talking about how to cure it, because that one is just... But how do we prevent like food poisoning, especially when we have food that is left over and we don't want to throw away? Because I believe that in Ghana we have this culture of nothing goes to waste. So, you know, how do we prevent it, and how do we then store our, you know, leftover foods that we didn't finish so we can eat the next day and all that stuff?
Yeah, so one thing you need to do is that, so after preparing your food and there's a leftover, so you have to dish it out from the silver or aluminum bowl, and also into a plastic bowl, a very clean plastic bowl. So first of all, you wash the plastic bowl, you air dry it, then you put the leftover food into it, then you refrigerate it. That's the safest way to go.
To store it.
And also make sure that if you're ready to eat it, just warm it up to a very tolerable temperature to consume it. And after warming up, eat it after that. Don't wait for some time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the way to keep up.
So we have learnt, guys, please, this one is serious. You don't want to be in pain. That after effect of not taking these steps is is more time consuming and painful than following these steps of preventing yourself and practicing amazing food hygiene. Wash your vegetables, check the area in which you are buying your food from. Before you eat, some people, they're so hungry that they just start eating straight away.
You need to wash your hands too.
Wash your hands.
Yeah,
that's
very
important. Wash
yeah.
your hands, because you yourself, with your dirty hands, can be poisoning your own self. But check the texture of your food. Is it sticky? Is it slimy? Smell it. Check the texture. Smell the food before consuming the food. Making sure that it's been warmed properly.
Yeah.
If it's salad, don't eat it after it's been made. Don't eat it after 2 hours of it being made, especially if it's been left outside. There are so many things, but Dietitian Nii, where can we follow you? And, you know, a lot of people probably have a lot more questions. So where can they follow you and find out more?
So on Instagram, it's Dietitian_Nii. The same thing on TikTok. The same thing on YouTube and Facebook.
Dietitian Nii. I mean, he's great, man. I love your consistency. That one I must say. All right, so guys, up next is The Plug. And for now, we're going to enjoy Available by Comido. So don't go anywhere.